Hello, my name is Marcel from the Visual Friends, and today's video is about visual collaboration done remote, maybe from home, maybe from different locations, and of course because of this little bug here that's floating around at the moment. And because of that, you might need to work from home. And it's not the end, it's something you can really learn and do a lot of little hacks. And in this video, I want to share the hacks we use at Visual Friends all the time. And yeah, enjoy. Alright guys, welcome to the video of how to work and collaborate remotely. My name is Marcel from the Visual Friends, and I would like to split the screen behind me in 3 columns. The first column will be preparation prior to the event, prior to the workshop. The second one will be during the workshop, and then the last column will be the wrap up and post meeting work. Right, with that, I would like to start with a couple of things that are important to me. First, what you see now there are best practices by Visual Friends. By all means, they are not the truth about how to work remotely. What's behind me in a minute is what we use at Visual Friends, what I have used in my career, and that what works for us. So those tips should help you, but they are not complete. And I would actually encourage you, please, under the video, write us a couple of comments what you find as useful to add as well. Then I create another video and maybe we can create a series out of it. Right. The first thing that I would like to do is to make one statement, and that is that when you work remotely, and by remotely I mean collaborate like you would do in a workshop remote, it is very important that everyone is equal, that everyone is remote. Even if you have 2 people who could sit in one meeting room, it's not a great idea. I think the better idea would be that everyone has the same situation, the same technology, the same headsets, the same situation, the best same bandwidth. That would be amazing, which is often a problem. So everyone is remote. That's a key thing that I would like to lock in. Okay, then let's bring up the columns first. So before the meeting, as one, during the meeting or in the meeting, column 2, and the wrap up, column 3. Important when you work remote, but I think that's true for all meetings. The majority of work is done before. A good friend of mine, John Hibble, always says it's like the chef who cuts all the sausage, all the veggies, and so in the morning or before the restaurant opens. So the preparation of the cooking is actually all that cutting, and that's done before the shop is opening, right? So this called mise en place, this thing is very important that you do this before, and so you have a lot of work before you run a remote workshop. And let's put this up. First, let me start with a question. Is there actually remote access? It's like what we currently see is a lot of laptops get bought and hype for VPN technology, but maybe you have this and just haven't tested it, whether it's working. So now is a good idea. Test this and have a look whether you can work remote one day, maybe today. Another thing that I always try to emphasize is this meeting really needed? Can we cancel it? It's better to not have a meeting if there is no need for a meeting. So be absolutely clear about your attention and have a clear why. After that, it helps me very much if I have a clear agenda. It's probably a no-brainer, but I write agendas in the way that they are leading questions. So in this way, I don't need to come up with a question based on an agenda topic. I directly read out the question that is on our agenda next. So think about an agenda based on questions. And you can circulate those questions beforehand, so you don't have to present them in the meeting for the first time. That people can make up their minds before and then come to the meeting and run this in there, or like answer the questions in there. That's what I want to say. Another important thing is maybe you have invited for the workshop or the meeting, but when you work then remote, it's very important that you have someone who's a timekeeper and have someone who's asking those questions, have someone who's basically creating this circle experience, which means like you all have words to say. Everyone is equal, everyone is remote, so that you emphasize the 360 view. And for that, the facilitator is king. So define who the facilitator is. It doesn't have to be the person who schedules in the meeting. It can be one of the group who knows the agenda and knows the process very well and maybe has designed the process. So think about who is your facilitator for this particular meeting. And as we are a visual collaboration company, the visual note taker is probably a good idea to have in there as well. And someone, it doesn't really need to be shared all the time, but it's good if we have visual notes we can send out or share from time to time. Of course, it's great if you have someone with an iPad logged in and he can scribble on screen while the people speak. But it's like a next level. One thing I really like to prepare before a workshop or a meeting is, when I work remote, to have a half-prepared presentation. So what do I mean by that? By using, let's say, a PPT, like a PowerPoint presentation, having the structure, who's in the room, what's the why, all lined up and ready to roll, you can start into the meeting easily. But then when it comes to the points where I need feedback, where I need to collaborate, the slide deck has gaps, maybe just 2 blocks, and we talk about source and target database or something like this. And we basically scribble in this presentation mode into that slide deck, which is really done nicely with Google, and I come to that in a second. Bring a half-done presentation and present it in the meeting. So leave some gaps. Basically what I did here, it was a half-done canvas, and now I'm filling in the gaps with you together. I already said it, but let me emphasize it again. You need to have a technology that everyone can see, and you have a shared experience, a shared screen. And systems that are good for that is Google Drive, for example, where you have a drawing or a presentation. When you show and share this presentation, everyone can collaborate. So you give added rights to everyone. And with that, the people can write notes in that. Of course, the same is possible with Office 365, but maybe you haven't tested it or practiced it, how you can do it remote. Now it's a good time to test this and get a bit of experience with working with those cloud collaboration tools like Office 365, Google Drive, and of course MindMeister, one of my favorites, mind mapping tools, where you can directly then convert it to a task board. All right, let's put that up. Use Google Drive or one of the things you can use. I say not every company has access to Google, right? So that's an important thing to think about. Okay, so preparation is done. A lot of questions you have written for yourself. You have a clear agenda. You have a slide deck with you that's half prepared, where you have those questions that basically fill the gaps in your slide deck. You have a facilitator who will take time, be the time tracker, will be asking those questions. You have a clear why that you articulate in the first minute of your workshop, why you actually meet, and it should be clear that before, I think, then everyone is on board with that, or basically declines the meeting, which will be great because I have nothing to do with that why. Okay, so let's come to the meeting. We are now in the situation of running a meeting. I really enjoy, so First, at Visual Friends, we have a weekly stand-up where we talk about the sales pipeline and things we do. And it's always Sundays because it's worked out like this best. And it's a 15 minutes to 20 minutes meeting. And we do a check-in question, not every time, but I really like the question. It's like 50-60% of the time we have a check-in question. And it's like, how's the weather? And then everyone speaks. In the first minute, everyone speaks and says, Sydney, 25 degrees sunny. I say Hamburg, 5 degrees rainy as usual. And so you have a loop of people, Auckland, Brisbane, and so on, who basically do like a check-in. And what it works is like you create this circle experience that everyone is here in the first minute, and that's a very important step. So you can ask for something else. What did you do on the weekend? But it should be an answer that is like, bam, bam, next one. And a good way to pass on the talking stick here is the following. Let's say, so we in Visual Friends, we have Auckland, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Hamburg. So those 5 cities. And then I just say, okay, Hamburg, 5 degrees rainy, Brisbane next. And then by that, I directly pass on to Danny and says, Brisbane, what's going on in Brisbane? As usual, 30 degrees, sunny, 4x on the beach, whatever. Like you have this, but you have and then you pass on, Sydney next. So the person who speaks directly passes on to the next location. That I think, or to the next name. That I think is a very nice thing, and it's fun to do. So have this as a check-in, and this of course is one idea of many, yeah? And please, under the video, maybe write your favorite check-in questions for your group meetings. All right. Then we have played around at Visual Friends with a lot of different technology, and the one that is right now the best and state of the art to do is not Skype anymore. Sorry, Skype. It's Zoom. Zoom us in. Zoom is a platform that works very well even if you have a low bandwidth, and sometimes we are in regions, or I'm traveling and other people are traveling where they not have the best internet connection. So it's a very good thing, and you have a stable situation. And you can share screens and flipped cameras when you have a top-down camera also very nicely. So please share your screen and use one of the better tools. Please invest a bit. It's not much. And I think Zoom, by the way, is 30 minutes free. And you can have as many video people participating and share your screen. But you might have WebEx or Skype for Business or anything. So please use what you have and practice it. It's a lot of preparation. Facilitation in remote collaboration means you know how to handle the technology without thinking about it. Practice that. Right, so let's come to that. The next one. I think it's true for every meeting, but when you work remotely, you might have distractions and so on, but try at least to be 100% present. And it comes to another thing that I want to emphasize in a second. It's like having breaks. So at least for the time when you talk to each other, when everyone needs to listen, be 100% there. And another thing that I like to do, we do this via WhatsApp often, but Slack is a good idea, or Teams from Microsoft. When you have that, keep a channel open where you can write, where it's possible that if you have a question, you have another channel to write a question. Can you maybe ask this, or is this part of the meeting, or should I ask that? Because the facilitator might have a chance to read those and say it comes back when it fits into the collaboration. So you have like a moderator, you have like someone who sees the question or the guesses, bubbles, but in a remote meeting, it's more important that you have them timed in where it fits, and not everyone speaks across like all the time over each other. So in text writing, short, precise questions or something back to the facilitator is a great idea. So keep a channel open, but important, as I said, everyone is equal and everyone is remote. Everyone needs to have access to that channel. So if you have participants in there who are not part of that channel, they will feel left out if you have a channel open where they can't write as well. So maybe create a channel just for that meeting. No worries. Something that really works for us very nicely is this, or making even gestures like this. So use hand gestures, because the camera is on, everyone can see you, you smile, you see the emotions, but emotions on a camera is not as strong as your body language in total when you're in a co-located space. So if you agree with something, use that. That sums up, that works. Or this. If you're more the scuba diver, then go like this. Yeah, very important. If you agree to something, you can also say whatever, go deeper, but you have to talk about those gestures before the meeting. Yeah, and if you're all scuba divers and you want to emphasize the whole sign language of scuba diving, go for it. Yeah, then this is down, this is up, and this is perfect. Okay. Use hand gestures on the camera. Right. And then something that I find very funny is in meetings, please tell me, where do you think the value is created? Is it when the people speak or when the people are silent? Thinking is the work in meetings. So call out deep work moments where you say, okay, for the next couple of minutes, we really would like you to think about X, Y, Z, and we're hearing back in 90 seconds or in 2 minutes or in 5 minutes, and write a list so that you have something to present back. Yeah? Brainstorming is not talking to each other. Brainstorming is being alone and then sharing with each other and inspiring each other. All right, so call out deep work time. And then another important thing, that's about a bit the netiquette of what we had in the internet version 1.0 is like those, you know, those chat netiquettes. The same is true for today remote meetings. Put yourself on mute if you're not needed right now. Every background noise, if it's just a street noise or something, it's annoying, and it is over time getting more and taking energy off the group. So whenever it's possible, mute yourself and do this yourself. Those auto mutes are funny because they cut out the first word. Then you have to ask again what the person said. So I highly emphasize, I have my mouse cursor on the mute button and I mute or unmute myself instantly when I need to. And it's, I think, the best sound quality. And do it as respect, as appreciation for the others. Yeah? In the same way we work visually or we collaborate visually, it's the highest throughput and the best quality and the highest appreciations of their lifetime that they spend with you in this meeting. Mute yourself. Have no pins anymore. And then I already said it, but let me say it again. Call out breaks, right? So if you're working hard together and you maybe have reached 45 to an hour of remote work, that's good time to have a break. So have a break, have a Kit Kat, and come back in 5 minutes. But be clear, the time is actually you're playing one song or something that you everyone can hear, and when the song goes out, we start talking again, even if there are people left. Yeah, be very clear. You play one song, maybe with your iPhone or like your smartphone next to your microphone, so that everyone can hear it, and no one speaks at the same time because then no one has a break. So make this loud for everyone or clear, and then when you go down with the music, the break is over, and then you can continue the collaboration. Make sense? All right. Let me have a short break. Good. Go for a walk, stand up, 20% more oxygen in your blood just by standing up. All right. Again, don't panic. Remote work is fun if you keep a couple of hacks alive in your remote meetings. And now we come to how to wrap up. So during the workshop, when you feel it, sometimes you might have a question and see a lot of thumbs up. Then maybe one person you ask, can we find an agreement here? Is there something you feel like we have agreed to? And then try to nail this down and write this down. It's good if everyone can see what's written and everyone can change the writing. So collect agreements wherever possible, things you agree to, and even better in remote meetings, everyone has a cursor, can edit those sentences. And please encourage the people to look at the sentence, say, are you agreeing with that sentence? Otherwise, change it in a way you like it better. And you might have people who are quieter, but they're very precise in writing those agreements, and voila, you have engaged everyone even more. It's not on you as a facilitator to find those agreements, to write them down. Have a person who's in charge of the document you have prepared, and so you can listen to the group and ask questions, and you have someone who's in terms of capturing outcomes in charge. Collect agreements. And that's not done at the end. That's a constant thing that happens during the whole meeting. Another thing is that comes closer to the end probably, but are actions. And SMART actions, as you probably know, stands for simple, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. So something that is, Simon is updating the document XYZ until end of today. That's SMART, right? That is time-based, it's relevant because it's the most important document. It's achievable, he said yes. Measurable, done or not done. Specific, yes. So, and this is important at the end when you have this list of 5 agreements or 5 actions or something, that those people who are namers behind, in their own words, tell back to the group what they think they have to do now. It's a big difference, right? Because you can say something, but doesn't mean that it reaches the other side. So make sure that you ask back. Can you brief back to us what you think? What's the task you are now doing? Yeah, it's like a stand-up meeting. It's not everyone says what to do. The group says what they like to do today. So brief back and collect SMART actions. What I like at the end of the meeting is like stone, paper, scissors. Like, what is it? 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. So I give a 1 to 5 stars. Retro. It's like the question is at the end, how good was the retro? This is 5 stars. This is 1 star. It's okay. It's like other time it's like perfect, but it's 1 star. This is 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. For Gryffindor. All right, so when you ask those, say thank you, and when you have it, it's done. Because you don't want to open a new workshop about how you prepare it better, right? But look for the people who did the 1 or 2s, and then ask them later offline in a one-on-one call, where what is the thing we can do to do it to the 3? Why do you had a 2? Why do you had a 1? Why do you had a thing, right? That's a very good idea for you to learn how to do it better. So have a quick wrap up, retro, like you do at the end of a stand-up, right? When we coach people from Visual Friends in companies for agile stuff, right? Then you have like 3, 2, bam, 5 stars for this stand-up. That was amazing. That was quick, was on time, was clear, done. Same here. How was the remote meeting? Okay, and then important. You need to harvest the outcome and send it across, send it around in a remote email. And this post email should consist of as many visuals plus the details as possible. People often ask me when they come to the Picablo class and say, do I replace now with my visuals the meeting minutes? No, it's both, right? You use visuals to get the big picture and to get the emotions in, and you have the detailed checklist in Confluence, in checklists, in documents, in Word, whatever you use, and it fits perfectly together. It's a perfect match. You can make in the drawing number 42, and you see in document bullet point 42, Brian will update the document, or was it Simon? Okay, so then here, put screenshots in. I really like to have a picture of the Zoom screen, and you see all the people, the funny faces that were in the workshop, and of course ask them because they have a right on the picture, right? It's a nice thing to see who was in the room as a sending across. I find it very nice, emotional when everyone closes the workshop with a funny gesture and you do a screenshot of the meeting. Visual notes, visual friends. Of course, we have visual notes, right? And in terms of visual notes, they are recommended to me by Heather Martinez. Is a top-down camera. I put it in the description of this video, which I use now as well. It's a perfect tool to use when you record and be in a Zoom meeting. And then all the agreements you had and all the actions, of course, they have to be in the meeting outcome. With that, I think you have a good list of things you can do to prepare for your next meeting. And yeah, let me summarize it with what I already said. Don't panic, remote visual collaboration is pure fun. No worries. And if you have questions, of course, please write them underneath of the video. If you would like help with remote collaboration, write us an email and we come back to you. And what I really like to do is to create a little series of tools and tricks and tips how we can work better together in the times of Corona. And with that, I want to say thank you for watching and see you next time. If it was useful, share it with your friends and yeah, give us a thumbs up. Have an awesome time. Bye bye.